we're back for the second half. Every once in a while, we meet somebody who is unforgettable for one reason or another. And our next guest is a prime example. I met her originally through my husband. I felt instantly welcomed into her world, and I'm so pleased she's here with us today. Time for us to get to meet her. Her name is Venerable Yin Kit, more commonly known as Sister Jessie. Sister Jessie!
Wow, Lindsey!
Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Please have a seat, Sister Jessie.
Thank you, Nancy.
All right, it's so nice to have you here.
It's been a long time, eh?
It has been a long time. Now, I have some questions. If you don't mind, I'm going to refer to my notes.
Sure.
If that's okay with you.
Sure.
Just let people know, if you don't mind, that you're a Buddhist nun. Is that correct?
Oh, definitely.
So how did that come about?
Wow, make a long story short. I used to work in the medical field, and I saw a lot of difficulties, unhappiness, sufferings, you so-called, in hospital. But it seems that at that time I was sort of numb. But when my mom was sick, it really dawned on me. And then that helped me to deal with my mom's death. And also I have seen myself benefited from it. So gradually I studied more, and I started to practice. Then I knew how much benefits that really have helped me to overcome those difficulties. Then I thought, well, maybe one day I could give up the mundane life and help others like others have helped me. That's how I came about to become a nun.
All right. So what is the philosophy in being a Buddhist and being a Buddhist nun?
Well, it's the Buddhist nun, of course. I mean, look at me. I have different hairstyle and different
clothes.
We call it robes.
Right.
So there's a lot of renunciation. You give up things, right? But as a so-called Buddhist, anybody who actually take on the Buddhist teachings and study and practice, and they call themselves Buddhists or not Buddhists or student of the Buddha, they don't have to renounce like us. So they call householder, the lay women, the lay men. So on the forehead, they wouldn't say, oh, Buddhist, no. But here, you look at me and say, oh, there's something different with this one, right? So the image of me, it actually shows that to a certain extent, I have renounced certain mundane life.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I believe you're a vegetarian, correct?
Yes.
Were you always a vegetarian, or?
No, actually, I became a vegetarian when my mom got sick. So that was 33 years ago.
Okay.
And I wasn't a Buddhist yet. But my friend told me that, I asked my friend, I said, is there any way in your Buddhist philosophy that I can benefit my mom to help her to actually ease into that illness or into the death much easier? And he said, well, if you could try to abide by this rule, not to kill or not to harm others, to sustain your own life, the merits that you gain, you could dedicate that to your mom. I said, wow, it's like transfer of credit, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought about it overnight, and I decided to become a vegetarian.
Okay.
And really surprisingly, actually it changed my life. Mm-hmm. And also, I don't know whether it's my vegetarianism, but my mom outlived all the expectations of the doctors, and she spent more time with us, 1.5 years more.
Longer than the doctors thought.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a gift.
It was a very beautiful passing, and that really inspired me a lot.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So, okay, so also now, if I'm remembering correctly, you eat one meal a day. Is that true?
Not me now.
Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah, well, there are, in the old days, there are actually, the Buddha actually has experienced that kind of ascetic life, one meal a day. Now, some of the traditions still uphold that, the rule, but most of the traditions have eased off, become more flexible, because we do a lot of teachings, and I travel a lot. The time zone and all this confusion is too hard for the body.
Right.
And especially in Chilliwack, we do a lot of physical work too. The yard work and all that. Climbing up the trees and trimming trees, and at the end of the day, you'll be like this. So we do have very light dinner.
Okay.
Soup or bread,
Right. Now you are in Chilliwack, and it's the Po Lam Buddhist Society.
Yes.
I remember hearing years ago you had a story about how it came to be in Chilliwack. Can you please tell us that?
Yeah, well, in 1994, my teacher actually had a North American teaching tour. And somebody in Toronto actually offered him a place, half price, asked him to go and establish a nunnery there, a monastery or nunnery, doesn't matter. But so he went back to Hong Kong where I was as a nun at that time. And he asked me and another fellow sister to come over to have a look. I said, what, in Canada? He said, yeah, go and have a look. So I said, okay, what about if that doesn't work out in Toronto? What happened? He said, go to Vancouver. He means Vancouver is the greater Vancouver. He said, that's a very nice place, and people are very simple, people are very open-minded. You should go there. I said, give me some criteria. He said, well, 3 criteria. First, you've got to find a place, there is a house for you to ready to move in, so you don't have to build. And when you need to build later on, there is extra land that you can build on. And also, there is land for you to actually grow vegetables. And so you don't have to constantly depend on others. And an hour away from Vancouver. 3 criteria. So I gave that to the real estate agent friend and said, go and look for a place. And he went. He really put his heart in. He went to Mission, look at the Westminster Abbey. He said, no, this is too big for women to look after. He thought, that was a thought in him. He said, oh, I'm going to Chilliwack to have a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee from Mission all the way to Chilliwack to have a cup of coffee? He drove 45 minutes, went into a coffee shop. Before he went in, there was this newspaper, like the real estate newspaper. He picked it up, and he ordered his coffee, opened up, it was this Po Lam.
Oh, wow.
On sale.
Right.
It's been on sale for 2 years. Because it was a huge place. Remember, Lindsey, you've been, I think you came once.
I've been there a couple of times,
actually. A couple of times, yeah. So it was a huge place at that time, right? So nobody could use such a big place. Right,
for sure. Tell everybody where Po Lam is situated.
Po Lam is situated on Prairie Central Road, but because we are now rebuilding a new meditation center, so if anybody would like to come and visit us or come and meditate with us, they have to go through Velma Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Velma and Chilliwack River Road?
Yeah, yes, okay. Yeah. And so are there specific hours when they can go?
Yes, we open for public to meditate with us twice a day, 7:50 to 9 o'clock in the morning and 5:50 to 7 in the evening.
All right, and I believe you're on Facebook too?
Yes.
Really into the modern stuff, right?
Well, we have to, right?
Yeah, of course.
We have to, so that people know where we are.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what, Nancy, we've been here 22 years, and people say, you've been here that long?
And they don't even know that you're there. A lot of people still don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though. I think when I've talked about you, because I tell people all the time about you, and I was so excited that you would come to the show, and everybody said, what?
Yeah,
like they were surprised.
I know, yeah. Even our neighbors said, no, you just moved in. I said, no, we've been here a long time.
Speaking of that, now when you came to Chilliwack and set up at your monastery,
that place.
What was the community around you like? Were they welcoming?
Well, that was 22 years ago, Nancy. It was a little bit strange.
Right.
It was a little bit difficult. Of course, I mean, this is very different. Alien, like E.T. from outer space, right? So, it was like sort of hesitant. People are very hesitant. I couldn't understand that. But gradually now, in the last like 10 or 12 years, they have opened up. And of course, there is a lot of immigration too, right? Different people go, people come. And a lot of younger ones who have been exposed to the Buddhist philosophy or knowing this is so-called nun or monk, So they're not too surprised now. It's getting to be much better.
Great.
Much better.
Now I think we should talk about what you personally do out in the community. You want to tell us some of that?
Well, yes. I do a lot of meditation. I teach a lot of meditation, and I teach meditation in the prison.
Right.
Yeah, every Thursday evening we go to the Pacific Institute in Abbotsford, and then every 2 months we do have a whole one day meditation course inside the prison for the inmates.
Right.
And also I teach meditation to schools, and upon request to communities, organizations,
Right.
and do a lot of hospice work.
Okay.
And we run a compassionate center for health in the Greater Vancouver to provide home visits, old folks home visits, and also hospice work to mostly the Chinese-speaking community. But of course, that include the mainstream too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the school
Yes.
a little bit first. Now, tell us what you do, or what schools do you go to? What age group?
I go to McCammon Primary, and is age group I think is between 8 and 12. And then I go to Ainsworth for a lunch buddy program. In both schools, in McCammon I spend like full hour in one class, and this year I have 3 classes.
And it's for meditation?
For meditation. For mindfulness development, it's not necessarily sitting down quiet, but they do sit down quietly for 5 minutes. You can't ask too much from kids. But I teach them mindful reading, mindful listening, and mindful studying, and mindful walking, and all that mindfulness practice that could help them to ease through their daily life, especially in a classroom. You know, sometimes it could be chaotic, sometimes it could be really rowdy. So how could they become mindful of their own emotion, and what kind of technique that they can actually allow them to settle down? So that's what I teach.
So have you seen any changes in those children?
Oh, tremendous changes. Even kids with really strong autism, they remember me. I once had a kid, actually, he seldom had eye contact with people. That's what the teacher assistant told me. And that day, I called his name, he looked at me. At the end of the session, he drew me out. He drew a picture with me wearing glasses, so he noticed. And last time I went into the school, I saw him. And when I took a deep breath, and he remembered. And he took a deep breath too. He took 3 deep breaths. So they remember. But it's just that they had difficulty to express themselves.
Now, when you first went into school, were the kids themselves receptive to you?
Oh, so good. They come and hug me. They call me Sister Jessie and blah 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 blah. And even sometimes I bump into them in the outside world. Once I bumped into a kid at Dairy Queen. It was the hot summer. We went to pick up some dairy bars for the volunteers. And this kid came and gave me a big hug. He said, Sister Jessie, what are you doing here? I said, getting some ice cream.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, they are very receptive.
Right, yeah.
Because I'm not teaching them anything about religion.
Right.
I'm teaching them how to observe the emotions, how to become a happier person, and more helpful, less hurtful.
That's right. That's what I think about, like when I think of Buddhism, that's what I think it is. It's about self-awareness, isn't it?
Yes, much self-awareness and self-introspection.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, this has gone so fast, we're out of time, but I so appreciate you having come to the show. Thank you very much.
Lindsey is so great. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
For sure.
Thank you.
So just sit right there for a minute there. Listen, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you being here, and hopefully you keep tuning in. See you next time. Peace out.